อดีตนักบินอวกาศอเมริกาจอห์นเกลนเฟลด์มาไทยครับแน่นอนว่าผมจะต้องไปจับเข่าคุยกันถึงเรื่องอวกาศและคำถามของผมคำถามหนึ่งคือว่าเมื่อไหร่คนไทยจะสามารถเป็นมนุษย์อวกาศได้มีคำตอบนะครับไม่ใช่ว่าไม่มีความหวังเลยแต่ว่าเป็นจังหวะที่สำคัญที่จอห์นเกลนเฟลด์เป็นหนึ่งในมนุษย์อวกาศของสหรัฐที่มาไทยแล้วพยายามที่จะมาปลุกระดมสร้างแรงบันดาลใจให้กับเยาวชนไทยว่าเรื่องของดาราศาสตร์เรื่องของอวกาศนั้นเป็นเรื่องสำคัญเป็นเรื่องที่ทุกคนควรจะเข้าใจและใฝ่ฝันที่จะศึกษามันเป็นจังหวะครบ150 ปีของว่ากอครับว่ากอที่ประจวบคีรีขันธ์คือจุดที่รัชกาลที่4พระบาทสมเด็จพระจอมเกล้าเจ้าอยู่หัวทรงทอดพระเนตรสุริยปราคาเต็มดวงก่อนหน้านี้2 ปีพระองค์ท่านได้ทรงทำนายเอาไว้ได้อย่างแม่นยำว่าจะเกิดสุริยปราคาเต็มดวงและจะไปดูได้ตรงว่ากอที่นั่นวาดภาพนะครับวัน150 ปีก่อนนะครับพระองค์ท่านทรงสามารถจะทำนายได้แม่นยำและเชิญอากันตุกะต่างประเทศไปร่วมในปรากฏการณ์ครั้งสำคัญด้วยดังนั้น150 ปีว่ากอจึงเป็นจุดผันแปรเพราะว่ารัชกาลที่4พระองค์ท่านเห็นแล้วครับว่าต่างชาติโดยเฉพาะประเทศตะวันตกกำลังจะมาล่าอาณานิคมในแถบนี้เพื่อนบ้านเราไม่ว่าจะเป็นมาเลเซียจะเป็นสิงคโปร์พม่าอินโดจีนนั้นก็ทยอยกันกลายเป็นเมืองขึ้นประเทศไทยต้องแสดงถึงความมีอารยธรรมความเจริญก้าวหน้าให้ตะวันตกเห็นเราถึงจะรอดพ้นได้และนั่นสำหรับผมไม่ใช่เพียงแค่เป็นการเปลี่ยนแปลงครั้งสำคัญของดาราศาสตร์สำหรับประเทศไทยเท่านั้นแต่คือการปรับใหญ่ของการทูตไทยที่นำไปสู่ความเป็นเอกราชของประเทศไทยประเทศไทยไม่ตกเป็นเมืองขึ้นด้วยกรณีว่าก่อนนี่แหละครับแต่ว่าบทสนทนาของผมกับจอห์นเกลนเฟลด์ถามทุกเรื่องครับรวมถึงว่าแล้วประธานาธิบดีโดนัลด์ทรัมป์ประกาศจะตั้งเป็นกองทัพอวกาศที่เรียกว่า Space Force เนี่ยมันมีความหมายอย่างไรสำหรับคนที่เคยเป็นนักบินอวกาศอย่างเขาคำตอบฟังให้ดีๆครับ So John, your experience in space briefly.
I'm a U.S. NASA astronaut, and I've flown 5 times in space. 4 of those missions were science missions. The second mission I flew, one of them was to the Mir Russian space station. That was very exciting.
Yes. Hubble telescope?
Yep, the last 3 missions were to upgrade and repair the Hubble Space Telescope. And I'm an astronomer. So this was, like going to the mountaintop.
So that was the dream of your life.
Kind of. Actually, when I was a professional astronomer before becoming an astronaut, I was very jealous of the people who worked on Hubble.
Yes.
Because it was taking all the money.
Right.
And so many astronomers thought it too expensive. But once we launched it and fixed it the first time, it was clear that this would be Hubble so transformative for humanity's knowledge.
Yes.
Because we would discover the beginnings of the universe, verify that black holes really do exist, and even later found out the universe is not only expanding, but it's accelerating. This is a big mystery, the discovery of dark energy. So Hubble, in my mind, has been the most transformative scientific instrument ever produced by humans. Ever. By looking at so many different things, even studying planets around nearby stars.
And your job was to fix it, or was to maintain it, or what?
A combination of things. Mostly to put new scientific instruments, new cameras on board. That's the beauty of the Hubble Space Telescope, is it was designed with doors that open so you could take the cameras out and put new cameras. It was launched in 1990. In 1990, there were no digital cameras.
No.
In fact, the technology that was invented for Hubble eventually became the modern CCD and the modern digital camera, including the video cameras and all of our cameras.
I see.
And so this was a revolution. And each 2 or 3 years, we were able to upgrade those cameras to new state-of-the-art technology. And that's really what made the difference. But also, You know, Hubble is a machine in space. Things break, things
Right.
wear out, and so we're able to replace those things that wear out. Hubble is coming up on 30 years in space. In 2020, it will have been there 30 years. Very few scientific missions ever last that long.
Still there,
And it's still there.
still working.
Yep.
For how much longer?
Maybe another. We don't know. I'm hoping another 6 years or 8 years.
I see.
That would be good.
Yeah. So you're now retired from active service.
That's right.
And what do you do now?
Actually, I've gone back to doing science. I use the Hubble Space Telescope to observe things. I'm observing the moon of Jupiter, Europa.
Europe?
And one of our big quests is to find out if there's life not on Earth, life elsewhere. Are we alone?
Yes.
And very likely, there's another planet like Earth that has life on it somewhere. But very difficult to observe. Hubble can't do it. The James Webb Space Telescope, our next NASA telescope, probably can't do it. We need even bigger. So that's maybe 20 years away. But in our own solar system, there could be life on Mars. But if there's life,
There could be.
Right.
What?
And I hope we discover that soon.
Yeah. What has the latest discovery of possible water on Mars?
Well, we've actually known proof since the 1950s that there's water on Mars. Because telescopes have seen the polar caps, we've identified in the atmosphere that there's water. The more we study Mars, the more water we find. When a new meteorite hits Mars and makes a crater, we see at the bottom ice. So we know there's water under the surface.
Yes.
A recent observation from the European Space Agency's satellite around Mars has seen what looks like a lake under the southern polar cap. Now it's very deep, hard to get to. But we believe that underneath the surface are vast sheets of ice. In the Mars atmosphere, there's humidity.
Yeah.
It's very low,
Yeah.
5 or 6%, but there's water in the atmosphere. Someday we'll have a mission with ground-penetrating radar that will map the whole surface, and then we'll know the answer. But from the Curiosity rover, which is in an area called Gale Crater, a relatively recent crater, but billions of years old, and that crater shows evidence that 3.8 billion years ago, there was a lake there,
Yes.
and there were shores,
Yeah.
and there were rivers running into the shore, which means that on the mountains there was probably snow. There were also, from the Spirit and Opportunity rovers, we've learned there were salty seas.
Yeah.
So 3.8 billion years ago, Mars probably looked a lot like Earth. There were these oceans, saltwater seas, snow-capped peaks. The fact that there was water on the surface means there were clouds
Sure.
and a thick atmosphere. So
Yeah.
it probably rained. Even today it sometimes snows on Mars. But it rained, it snowed, and for millions of years it was much like Earth. So the question is, life started on Earth 3.8 billion years ago.
Yeah.
Could it have started on Mars? Or could life have started on Mars and was ejected and landed on Earth and we're Martians? It's possible. But ultimately, if you can't make money, it doesn't matter. And so as CEO, he has to report to the shareholders, to the board of directors.
But Elon Musk is also trying to go to Mars.
Yes, his dream is to go to Mars.
His dream.
Yes.
And he's working on it too, right?
He is working on it, but he also doesn't have the money.
No.
So it's very expensive.
Yeah, but can he work with NASA?
Oh, most of the money that Elon Musk has comes from the government, from NASA.
I see.
Yeah, people think it's private,
Yes.
but he wrote proposals and contracts and is paid for by NASA for the Falcon 9 development, for
Yes.
the Dragon capsule development, which hopefully next year will fly crew. So most of his funding is through that. Now he is selling mini rockets now to commercial customers.
Yes.
So my hope is that he is profitable, and he can use those profits to build a rocket to Mars. But we work very closely with SpaceX
I see.
at NASA.
And Elon Musk is quite realistic, or is he just dreaming?
I think the beauty of Elon Musk is he's a dreamer. He dreams of a world with electric cars. That would be a very good thing.
Yes.
He dreams of a world with solar panels on houses. I have solar panels to power my house.
Really?
It's the right answer. Thailand has a lot of sunshine.
Yes.
It can power with solar panels and it saves money. It's a good dream. But in order for Elon Musk's dreams to be successful, he has to make companies that can make money.
Sure.
And that's been the challenge, especially at that grand scale.
Well, the latest controversy is that he sent up a tweet which said that he would take Tesla private, and that he suggested that he's got the funding, but it turned out that not yet.
Yeah, I think he was expressing his frustration that once you are a public company,
Yes.
the shareholders demand, that you tell them when are you going to make money.
Yes.
People have invested their savings
Yes.
in this dream. For Elon, the dream is half of the journey,
Sure.
and he has created a marvelous company, Tesla.
Yes.
And he drives the people to work very hard and to share that dream.
Yes.
But ultimately, if he can't make money, it doesn't matter. And so, as CEO, he has to report to the shareholders, to the board of directors,
Right.
to the government who regulates public companies. That's a lot of work, and he's working very hard on many different companies.
Right.
So, if he takes it private, he saves lots of time, and time is his most valuable resource. So I think his tweet was expressing frustration that he has to spend all this time that he views as a waste
Right.
to go to board meetings, to talk to shareholders, to write reports. He would rather just build cars. And Twitter is, in a way, it's a wonderful communication mechanism. But sometimes it's your thoughts leaking out.
Right.
And maybe it's better to keep them inside.
Yeah. You haven't thought through it.
Maybe our president, too.
Your president is also tweeting
Yes.
All the time.
All his inner thoughts.
Talking about President Trump, he has announced a plan to set up the Space Force. What is it, and what do you think it is?
Well, the idea of a space force is actually not a new idea. It's been around for many years, and I think 2 years ago, some members of our Congress
Yes.
Proposed to write law that would create this space force. And the other members of Congress said, no, probably not such a good idea. But the current administration, the Trump administration, has brought that idea back and proposed it again to answer the threat that we have, we believe, from China and Russia and maybe other countries of turning space into a future war zone.
Yeah.
All of the Earth depends now on communication, on GPS,
Yes.
On imaging, so that we can help agriculture. If somebody wanted to hurt the economy or hurt our military, they could attack the satellites in space. It's possible.
Right.
So far, space has not been a place for war. It's been for the peaceful use of space.
Yes.
It supports people on Earth and the military, but it hasn't been a battlefield. So I think the idea of a space force is to focus attention of many people in the military in one organization on this threat. Right now, it's distributed, mostly in the United States Air Force.
Yeah.
They have a space command, and they manage many of these assets to try and prevent space from becoming a battlefield. I think, and then some in the Navy, some in the Army. There are many different ways to solve the problem of having more focus on this issue.
Yes.
What I worry about is if we create a new space force, that one, there'll be a period that's always messy when you start a new organization.
Right.
That's risk. For me, it would be more important to discuss how can we make our military more efficient
Right.
and pay attention to the most important things to try and make the cost of the military go down, not make the cost of the military go up. So I have some concern that creating a new division of the military will involve new headquarters buildings, new military bases, new people who support the military, which increases the overall cost.
I hear some former astronauts are against the idea.
Well, it's not so much about astronauts going into space, but many of our astronauts, about half, come from the U.S. military. And quite a few of them have been working in the space domain before they came to become astronauts. So they know what happens at Space Command. You know, I'm a civilian astronaut. I'm an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
So I don't know about such things, but they do. And they have spoken out against it for many of the same reasons. One, we don't want to create a battlefield in space.
Right.
Everybody loses. In 2007, the Chinese shot down one of their own satellites as an experiment. And pieces went everywhere. And it threatened not only U.S. satellites, but everybody's satellites. Even one small piece of a satellite, if it hits the Hubble Space Telescope, for instance, could destroy the Hubble.
Wow.
And create many more pieces because things are traveling so fast.
Yeah.
There was some discussion at the time about canceling my mission because of the additional risk to us.
Yeah.
It added 12% risk that we would not come home. And we are already at a 1 in 67 chance of not coming home. So the odds were very bad, and that made it worse.
Yeah.
Those astronauts know about such things and have spoken out against it. But fortunately, there'll be many, many discussions. Somebody has to figure out how much will it cost?
Right.
How would we actually do it?
Right.
And when could we do it? And Congress would have to pass a new law, which means Congress has to agree to do this. And in the past few years, Congress has had trouble agreeing on anything. So I'm not too worried. It is very important that we focus on this issue of space security to prevent space from becoming a battle zone.
It's not a battle zone yet.
Not yet, but we worry about it. We have the International Space Station. Today we have Russian cosmonauts and U.S. astronauts working together in space. Many engineers on the ground every day.
How serious is the threat of a space war between all the superpowers, the Americans, Chinese, Russians? Is there a possibility of a war in space?
Well, I think if our countries go to war over anything on the ground, the fear is that it will immediately go to space.
Yes.
Because if you're a general, you want to know, you want imagery of the battlefield, and you want communication with your soldiers. And all of that comes from space. So the first thing that an adversary would want to do is to deny the general his images and his communication.
So space will be the first target.
So it might be what starts the war. It would be very scary. And of course it would affect all of us because our phones, our GPS, I mean wars are always bad, but if space becomes filled with debris, you know, we lose much of our modern way of life.
But there's also a higher level of cooperation among all the countries in space exploration, right?
I think so. The remarkable thing is even though now the US and Russia are having some difficulties, in space we're still cooperating. We have the International Space Station. Today we have Russian cosmonauts and US astronauts working together in space. Many engineers on the ground every day communicate and work together. And I think that's a very important thing. And it's bonded, I think, by science and the dream of exploration. We all share that, even if we disagree on how to manage a country.
And the Chinese also are working with the United States?
The Chinese are working with many other countries. We have some scientific cooperation with China, especially for Earth science, because we all share the same problems of planet Earth. But in human spaceflight, so far, no cooperation. And that's actually because Congress did pass a law a few years ago that prohibits us from working one-on-one with China on things like spaceflight.
I see. So it's still security fear?
Security fear and a tool to express differences in human rights, for instance.
You've been in Thailand before. What do you think of Thailand's future in space?
I think space is very important to Thailand's future. I think for all futures, but you know, Thailand very much needs to have the ability to take satellite data and understand the effects in Thailand. Thailand is susceptible to flooding.
Yes.
But we have wonderful satellites that can predict those floods if Thai scientists can understand how to use it.
Yes.
So we have programs of cooperation with United States scientists and Thai scientists, and not only Thai scientists, but scientists in Vietnam and elsewhere who all cooperate in the region because many of these rivers cross several countries to help Thailand. I think also space is something that has such a powerful inspiration for students that if they can participate in looking through a telescope or maybe even for university students building a small satellite which could be launched by India or the United States or Russia, which is called a CubeSat. Many countries and many students all across the world are building small satellites that then, every time it passes over Thailand, it would send them pictures of Thailand or pictures of space. And this would be very inspirational. What space does, because of its difficulties, is push us to expand our talent. To go beyond what's normal into the fantastic. And if you're a company that does high technology, if you can have a project in space, it attracts the best talent, the best engineers to come to your country, your company, build something. And even if in their career they only work on one space project, they carry that pride. That they send something to space, and then they can build better technology for computers or for engineering or even buildings.
Yeah. When can Thailand have the first astronaut? And what do we have to do to have the first Thai astronaut?
Well, I think you have to have, top-notch students, which you have. But I think it's partly a question of access to space.
Yes.
Right now, the Chinese have human access to space, and the Russians have human access to space.
Yes.
Next year, the United States should start its commercial space flight. We paid SpaceX and Boeing to build new rockets, new capsules, and they will start launching astronauts to the International Space Station. At first, NASA astronauts, but eventually international astronauts, and that's an opportunity for Thailand to cooperate with the U.S. Or even to purchase a seat on one of those capsules. And maybe the astronaut will come to the United States and train and then spend some time on the International Space Station.
What is the most difficult part of becoming an astronaut?
The most difficult part, I think, is that you have to be lucky. Lucky because of having the right skills, and that takes a lifetime of work. Lucky because your health has to be very good. And that when you go to have an astronaut interview, you have no idea because they poke and they take lots of samples and they look inside and they do all of these tests, and you may find something you didn't know you had, but that keeps you from being an astronaut. So that's important. So to the young people, I say, make sure and eat well, exercise, stay healthy, no smoking,
No
bad
drinking,
things. So
no smoking.
That's right.
And study hard.
Study hard and have lots of exercise.
And you have to have a sense of adventure.
Yes, I think NASA selects astronauts, and if Thailand has a program, it will select astronauts who love to explore. Who have a sense of adventure, both professionally and personally.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, John.
My pleasure.
คนไทยทุกคนมีสิทธิ์ฝันเรื่องของอวกาศ และมีความเป็นไปได้ ถ้าหากเยาวชนไทยคนไทยเริ่มฝึกปรือตัวเองตั้งแต่ตอนนี้ ไม่ช้าไม่นาน เราอาจจะมีนักบินอวกาศที่เป็นคนไทยคนแรกก็ได้ครับ อย่าหยุดฝันครับ แล้วทำความฝันนั้นให้เป็นจริงด้วยการลงมือทำจริงๆครับ วันนี้เวลาหมดแล้วครับ สวัสดีครับ